So I'm going to share screen too.
Hey, John. Morning, Bridget.
Hey.
All right. Looks like our session on the keynote stage just ended. So people are starting to pop in here. So we're going to get started in about 3-4 minutes.
Perfect.
So we already got 30 people in the room. So you guys will
That's awesome.
be all set. I want to welcome everyone who's joining the room. Be sure and go to the chat, say good morning and hello to everyone. Hey, Monica. Thanks for dropping that line in the chat. Anybody else? Tell us where all y'all are from. Let's hear it. Where's everybody from? Let's get some locations. Katrina, I know where you're from. San Antonio. Look at that. All right. All right.
Righty then. Tone.
Good morning, Mr. Tony Civitella, our presenter today, President CEO of Transfinder. Maybe you guys saw him on the podcast yesterday. He was giving us a little preview of what's to come.
Sneak peek.
That's right. We're excited to see what you have today. We got a great crowd for you. Already got about 42 people in the room and growing. Tony, you want to set us up? We got about 2 minutes. You want to tease the audience, tell them what they're about to see exciting from Transfinder?
Well, the big part here is really we're talking about two products today. We're going to talk about the Routefinder PLUS and Stopfinder. These are the parent apps. So it's a new product that we released early this spring, April 6th to be exact. And it's a new routing platform. It's fully automation, the routing algorithm. But when we talk about special needs, very complex, and we'll talk about how we really have the human factor here in special needs routing. And of course, we got John here, John Briggs. He'll be talking specifically about what the functionality, what does it mean, and of course, at the end, how can you get your hands on this product? So we'll leave room for question and answers at the end. And again, if there's something, Bridget's here is going to also be monitoring these questions. If there's something that's makes sense to interrupt us, we told her, please don't let us go any further if there's something that we should really address right away. So,
all right. If anybody asks a good question, do they like win a new car, or should they go to the Transfinder booth? What do you got? What's happening today?
I don't know about a new car. John, are we giving a new car? I'm talking to your John Daniels and Bridget. Rick, can we give your car away? Oh, we're going to give his car away. Maybe. Right?
Oh, my God.
We're giving away mask. Gators. That's it.
Gators. All right. Got to go by the Transfinder booth. Well, wonderful. All right. So before we get started this morning, I want to remind everybody, STN is giving away $100 Amazon gift cards for asking Tony and his team great questions. We'll be giving away the gift cards on the podcast later today. So we want to reward you for dropping in. We got lots of people signing in, Tony. Looks like Prosper, Texas. We got Washington, Kansas, Portland, Oregon, Winters, California, San Jose. People from all over the place are jumping in. So really enjoy your session today, all right?
Perfect. Thank you.
Of course.
All right. Good morning, everyone. My name is John Briggs. I am the Client Implementation Manager here at Transfinder. Greetings from upstate New York, where it's going to be about 70 degrees today. So we're holding on to fall and late summer a little bit longer than usual. But it is my pleasure to introduce to you Antonio Civitella, President and CEO of Transfinder. And we are presenting today a presentation on transporting students with special needs. Tony.
Good morning, everyone, and congratulations, STN, for pulling off another virtual conference. Holy cow. I think I feel like I was just in this same spot with that same background just about 2 months ago. So congratulations to pull it off again. You know, I'm going to bring up what we talked about. I think Tony Corbin, thank you again, mentioned about the podcast from last night. We talk about empathy, and I tell you, at Transfinder here, we are parents too, so we understand what does it mean to have empathy as parents. And, you know, we being parents, we know what your parents are asking for. let's face it, they're anxious, they're nervous, they want all this information. So this is where we have really our peace plan. And what does a peace plan do for people? It removes this anxiety. Our software really helps you and really the transportation team have the peace of mind by creating the safest bus routes and bus stops. At the end of the day, we all want this, right? And again, it's not just from your point of view, parents want this too. And I just want to make sure we all understand these acronym, which is the planning. Our routing system is all about planning. Great. Now you did a great job planning. Now you got to execute it, which means you got to give it to the drivers and you got to make sure they understand what this means. Accountability is the other big part. Is that accountability now at this point? Are they riding? Are they driving the way you said they should be driving? All that kind of stuff. Communication, again, is part of the parents here being, have empathy. They need to understand what's going on. So communicate as much as possible. And then part of the cycle is examine, Examine your routes and everything you have. And again, it's just a big cycle. So this is really exciting about part. Obviously, John and we talk about our routing system and of course our parent app and how really it's a critical part of keeping these children safe. So let's get started.
Let's do it. All right. We will be shining the spotlight on two of our products, the first being Routefinder PLUS. We were able to release that earlier this year, and we're really excited about the functionality and what this means for special needs transportation. So here are some of the considerations we wanted to put in front of you today. The first being, you create your planned trips. We said plan, that's the P in peace. So you utilize your local knowledge, and you also utilize your district policies to make sure the kiddos are safe. Plan with safety as the highest priority. Prohibit street crossing. This can be done on multiple levels within Routefinder PLUS. You can also restrict travel on dangerous roads altogether. Really cool there. And finally, you can incorporate the most up-to-date student information. We can have a nightly import running into PLUS so you have the latest and greatest information on students. And Tony, let's add to that.
I gotta tell you, we're talking about importing data. This is such a crucial part. And I'm not talking about just bringing in student name and address and schooling grade. You can bring in anything you want. And typically our clients bring this information around 2 o'clock in the morning. Think about this. All this data, all that stuff that's happening. Like you said, it's either they're going to be the A kid, the B,
virtual,
right? All that data is flying in and it's actually helping you make decisions. And obviously it's part of integration. So data flowing in is key to our routing system, really for any system. So yeah.
Absolutely. All right, here is a screenshot of what a special needs trip looks like in Routefinder PLUS. Some of the characteristics of a special needs trip, obviously the students may be spread out over the area. Maybe it's a whole county where you have just a handful of pickups. And Routefinder PLUS is designed for that type of trip. And here's why. If you're adding a stop to a special needs trip or you're taking away, we have an option called smart sequencing. We do the math for you. So if you're adding in a stop, we'll give you the most efficient path to get the student safely to or from school. Same thing with taking away a stop. We'll update that order and that drive path with the same goal to make sure you're efficient, you're effective, and you're safe. A couple items you're seeing on your screen here. On the left-hand side, we have our routing palette. And you can see with the stops there, stop number 3, we have the ability to see just from the palette if a student is prohibited from crossing the street. So John Pierce, no matter where he is, if he is across the street from the stop that's been being placed, he's not able to get on at that location because we are prohibiting that crossing of the street right there. So a lot can be decided and determined through the routing palette with Routefinder PLUS.
I got to tell you, I have to add more things here. On John Pierce, you notice it says Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. That's not enough for us. This is a full calendar-based routing system, which means it's not just Monday through Friday, it's date specific. You could have a different Monday from today to next Monday. And that obviously in special needs, things do change, schedule changes. Student has a different requirement. So I just want to remind everybody, yeah, you might just see Monday through Friday in this interface, but it's fully calendar based. So it's something that we need to emphasize like crazy. By the way, there's a question out there. I think I'm going to answer a question
Let's do
because
it.
I saw, there was a question about importing, and someone asked, Chris Mulhern, hopefully I'm pronouncing your name. My last name's Civitella. I can't tell you how many times people mispronounce it. I just live with it, right? The ability to import images, really students, pictures, so drivers could see them on the route sheets. Oh, yeah, definitely. Again, importing, it's always customized. You work with our team, and we could bring in almost anything. Almost anything. All right. Again, there'll be other questions. I see a lot of things here, so I'll, you're on the flow, so I don't want to necessarily interrupt you, but there's tons of questions. I'll get them in there.
We'll be able to knock it all out. So don't worry about me. Let's keep going though. Let's talk a little bit more about Plus. A lot of our best ideas, and Tony, I can't believe, you say this all the time, and it truly is true. A lot of our best ideas come from our clients. We're constantly getting feedback. This works, or we think this could be changed to make it even better for a lot of districts across the United States or North America, or even the world. And one of the things we heard from people is, let's simplify the process for creating door-to-door stops. Well, we've done just that. If you see a blue dot, which is a student, on your routing palette, simple right click, and you can create that door-to-door stop for them. Not just that, we take it a step further. Let's make sure that student is safe. So when you create that new door-to-door stop, there are a lot of options here that you can customize to make sure this stop meets your needs, the district's needs, and that student's needs. We've highlighted 3 of the different areas on this trip stop window. The first being total stop time. One of the key characteristics of a special needs student and special needs transportation is they sometimes require additional time getting on or getting off the bus compared to the gen ed population that you're also providing transportation for too. So this can be customized on the stop level. If you know that particular location and that particular student is going to mean we should actually have this be about 2 minutes or 2.5 minutes for total stop time, you can make that adjustment right on the new stop window.
And listen, stop time, this is a big deal, right? We talk about it's, first of all, in our system, you can go in there and just put in whatever time you want, but stop time is really based on the automation. Stop time is to be a fixed time you want for the stop, for really the vehicle stop, but there's so many other variables, and I know you have a screen coming up. It's about student requirements, whether it's certain needs, certain equipment that student need. Let's say if it's a wheelchair, well, they're gonna need a lot more time to load to get on a bus. So these are all variables. Why would make such a big deal? Because man, imagine if you have a 6, maybe 10 kids, and it usually takes about 45 minutes to pick them all up, and you're about 5-10 minutes. Each student is actually longer than you anticipated. Guess what's going to happen? You're going to be off by a lot, especially when you get to the last kid, and all of a sudden you're like 30 minutes late because it's not because it was done on purpose. You just have a wrong system to estimate improper for you. So really big deal. I know you have a screen for that. So by the way, I have so many questions about importing. I think people really they recognize that having data, the correct data is important. A question there from Deborah Cortez about, does Plus work with all student information systems? If a student information system has a way to get data out, it works with our system. So that's a big question. I know that there's so many things about here. I'm going to, again, pepper some questions in there because I think that's an awesome question. Maybe we didn't emphasize how we think import is the key to a successful route planning system. So cool.
All right, let's keep going. And thank you for those questions. A couple more items I'll talk about with the stop window here. You can force a right side pickup so the student does not have to cross. Additionally, that drive path will be automatically created with that forced right side pickup. So you'll be able to see what that looks like from a driver's perspective. And then finally, at the stop level, you can prohibit crossing. So maybe you haven't done it for students, but you can say this location is not safe enough for students to cross the street. Let's just simply prohibit it altogether.
And I got a question someone just asked about that we talked about how we could prohibit students. Again, this is a stop level, but we also could prohibit students at multiple levels. And does it mean grade, age? Actually, it's whatever criteria you want, because in the student screen, you could say for any criteria, and all of a sudden they're prohibited, which means they'll never be able to sign to a stop that force them to cross the road. So good question. So I want to get that in there.
Absolutely, and that question is a great segue. Here is what that looks like in a student's record. You can see there are two images on this screen. The top one is a student's record. So where it says prohibited cross street, you have the ability to adjust that. So you can say yes or you can say no. And especially with special needs, we want to say yes. We want to prohibit that street crossing. Tony emphasized stop load time. So that second option and that second image below here, disability codes. We've always had disability codes as part of our routing system. Let's talk a little bit more about what that means. It gives additional detail for the drivers, for the bus aides, for the district personnel. But on top of that, this helps to automatically create a better timing system. You don't have to remember, oh yes, this student utilizes a wheelchair, so I have to go and manually add 5 minutes. What you can do is create a disability code for a student that utilizes a wheelchair and say, any student with this code that I've assigned of WC, that time is automatically added. So when I'm in a trip, I don't have to think about going back and redoing my work. That's already been done.
I got to tell you, there's another good question here about really Katrina Falk. She just wants to emphasize about, because we always talk about going to school and then coming home from school, right, to school and from school. She talks about really a unique circumstance that for special need routing, sometimes she presents that it's got to be midday, which means you're picking up and dropping off at the same time. Yes, we can do that. And she loves that functionality. And plus, thank you for the shout out, Katrina. Yeah, there's times that you're picking up kids while you're dropping some off. So very important feature. Thank you for the shout out.
Hey, Katrina, always good to hear from you. All right, last piece on Routefinder Plus. There's a lot with Plus, but we had to whittle this down and talk about some of the elements that are most applicable for our special needs transportation. User-defined fields. Again, much like disability codes, these have always been around, but we want to change the thinking about user-defined fields a little bit. You can create as many fields as you want, and those fields can be anything that you want. So we don't want you to feel limited in the amount of information that you can bring in, because you can bring in as much data as you want and all the different types of data that you want. Tony?
Well, I talked about this user-defined fields. Really, there was always been, do we have enough fields? Are we maintaining that field? And that's for 32 years, we always felt like, man, we could just use a couple more fields. So we realized with Plus, when we came up with this product a few years ago, like, we need to create an interface that's really easy, that it could just create any type of fields, whether it's a text box, it's a drop-down menu, it's really anything they want. It's a number field, it's a telephone. Think about all the different fields. Types, they're all in there. And at this point, then you create your own layouts. And again, I'm talking way too much about in the weeds here and the details, but we get so super excited about this product. And obviously, I'm seeing some of the messages that people are talking about how they're excited about the features. We got a lot of questions coming up, which I'm excited. So go ahead.
All right, second spotlight is on Stopfinder. Here's some of the considerations with special needs transportation and Stopfinder. Well, first of all, to put it simply, it's a parent app that's used to track student bus assignments. It also does a lot more. Let's talk about geo alerts. You have the ability to get a notification when the bus is in vicinity, so you can get your students ready. And again, with special needs, you may need that extra time, and you may need that warning to get everything together and get that student ready to go to school. And finally, announcements. Announcements can be sent to specific groups of parents and guardians, and we'll show you an example. So, if bus 10 a.m. is going to be 10 or 15 minutes late, you're able to identify those parents or those guardians and get that message out to them as a push notification on their mobile device. Here's an example of a push notification. This was tied to meal delivery or meal handouts that were going on over the summer at some school districts that we work with. So parents were being informed of the process for either picking them up or, in this case, wait in your car and you will be served. So how do geo alerts work? Quite simply, we use your maps, your data, and your location. You can see an example of a screenshot on the left-hand side. All you need to do is tap that bell in the lower right-hand corner, and you are presented with the option to create a geo alert. Again, once the bus goes through that geo alert, you are notified that the bus is in range. Tony?
I like about this thing right here, a lot of parents hop on there, and there's a lot of good ones out there too. And obviously they all have the stop location where it's where the bus is going to stop. We felt that we need to go one extra step to also present the student location, the home location. That's important for parents to see. That's like, hey, I don't actually live there. I don't live there. So maybe you need to tweak where, geocoding. And there's some questions about map updates, and I think I'll answer that afterwards. Yeah, we could definitely have full functionality to modify your maps and the address ranges. A lot of our clients use parcels or address points, which makes it very accurate, because when you're defining these routes, you're not necessarily going to know exactly where that house is. You're depending on our routing system. So very important. And if something's not right, guess what? Parents have a way to tell you, hey, I don't live there. I'm across the street, which is really good information. So cool stuff.
All right.
Awesome.
Well, I gotta jump in, guys, because we're at time. It like blew by so fast, and there are tons of questions that were asked, and Transfinder's team will get back to you and answer those questions. And you can go to their booth as well. They have a team of people during the show that can answer questions for you. And it looked like John Daniel was saying, if you ask a question, you get a reward, a prize. So be sure and go by their booth and ask more questions and win some prizes. But Antonio and John, thank you so much for your guys' time. It was awesome. We greatly appreciate you guys, and have a great show. Don't forget, keep asking questions, comment. We're giving away those $100 gift cards. Go to the podcast later today and listen to see if you won. Thanks a lot, guys. Have a great show.
Thank you.
Take care, everybody. Bye.
Bye.